Hello and welcome back for another standard gameplay video. Today we're going to be playing Kavaero's Last Gift, which I suppose now is Superior Spider-Man since the Spider-Man cards have been added to the Arena client. We are a Reanimator deck looking to fill our graveyard with some large creatures and then just beat down our opponent. In order to get the creatures into the graveyard, we can impend Overlord for 2 mana. Later in the game, it's not unreasonable to hardcast as well. Then for looting effects, we have Winter Night Stories, which oftentimes, even if we do have a creature in hand, we're going to still want to discard 2 cards just to help fill our graveyard. Similar with the Steam Core Scholar, instead of discarding an instant sorcery or creature with flying, we're often going to opt to discard 2 cards. This one's great as well, as it can be brought back from the graveyard to gain additional looting effects, and then the flying and vigilance are also relevant. For our reanimate spells, we have Valgavoth's Faithful, 1 mana creature that we can sacrifice for 4 mana. Zombify, a 4 mana reanimate spell. And the Kavaero, or Superior Spider-Man, comes into play as a copy of target creature in our graveyard, except it's a 4/4. And mainly, what we're looking to do with this one is copy Bringer of the Last Gift, which states that if we cast it, each player sacrifices all creatures, and then we return all creature cards from our graveyard that weren't put there from the sacrifice effect into the battlefield, which is why we're so focused on discarding multiple cards to really gain additional value here. Some of the other big effects, Ardyn the Usurper acts as a reanimate as well at the beginning of combat on each of our turns, as we can exile a creature from any graveyard and create a 5/5 black demon token of it. Ardyn also states that demons we control have menace, lifelink, and haste, meaning a lot of times if we have a Last Gift line and Ardyn's in our graveyard, we can just win the game on the spot with hasty combat damage. And lastly, there's Valgavoth, Terror Eater, a 9/9 demon with flying and lifelink, and then the ward effect means our opponent would have to sacrifice 3 9-land permanents, oftentimes acting as hexproof, because even if your opponent does have 3 non-land permanents, sacrificing them usually means that they're going to lose the game anyway. And then Valgavoth's other ability states that if a card we don't control would be put into a graveyard, it gets exiled instead. And then during our turn, we can pay life equal to its mana value to cast the card for free. Alongside things like the Ardyn, which are also going to put lifelink into play, we can often cast anything using the Valgavoth, so there's great synergy there. And then the last card here, 3 Steps Ahead, has some utility to it. For 3 mana, we can counter a spell or we can loot. And then in the late game, we can choose multiple effects, helping to protect our creatures once we've gotten them into play, dumping things into our graveyard, or even occasionally, while quite rare, we might want to make a copy of something like a Last Gift or a Steam Core Scholar that's already in play. For the mana base, we are playing a full play set of Cavern of Souls, often going to be placed on human, so that our Spider-Man is uncounterable. We have 1 Undercity Soars for a little bit of selection, and since our deck really doesn't do much until turn 2 or 3, we don't mind that it comes into play tapped. Similarly with the tapped land Restless Reef, this one we can turn into a 4/4 creature that mills 4 cards when it attacks, filling our graveyard. And then we have a dual land and some basics to round out the mana base. Historically, this deck is not the fastest, but it is still very strong due to the board wipe nature of the Last Gift. Additionally, in the early game, we don't mind chump blocking with a lot of our smaller creatures, since we do plan on just bringing them back, again, either with the Last Gift or the Ardyn, so having them in our graveyard is not the worst. And while it doesn't come up very often, if we do come up against some permanent graveyard hate on our opponent's side of the field, it is not unreasonable for us to get into the late game and start hardcasting things like the Ardyn. I think the last time I played the deck, that happened in a couple matchups, so there really is quite a bit of utility here, and I'm hoping the deck does well today. So without further ado, let's jump into the matches. This hand looks fine. Still need a way to get a creature in our graveyard. Start on the tapped land. Don't need another Zombify. Opponent is holding up mana here. We will play out the Faithful. Tap land. We see white mana here. No block. Surprised they didn't attack in with the paw patch. It's unlikely that we would trade our Valgavoth. We'll just pass the turn with Counterspell up. We would prefer to draw and discard here. Not going to interact here. Outside of Overboroid, there's not much we care about. I assume they might also have Sheltered by Ghosts. We will draw and discard here. No Spider-Man yet. Well, we only get to discard one of these. I think it has to be Valgavoth then. And a bunch of lands, so not good draws. Need a way to cycle through some of these dead cards in her hand. Opponent is doing some math in their head. It's probably worth it. They get blown out if we have another reanimate spell in hand, but we sent one to graveyard earlier, so they can surmise that we might not have another one, mathematically speaking. And they do decide to go for it here. It's going to be 15 damage if we block the paw patch and they don't have another pump spell. So I think that's what we do here. And that went to damage pretty quickly, so I don't think they have it. And that's enough for the concession here. Seems like they ran out of gas. I'm proud to announce a brand new channel, Mythic Gaming Unleashed. On this channel, we'll play new games, old games, and everything in between. So if that's your thing, I encourage you to hop on over and take a look after the video and let me know what games would you like to see played. Now, back to the action. This hand looks good. All it needs is a bit more mana. We draw into at least one more. We can use the Steam Core to dig for the fourth. We do need to survive that long though. We're up against the Prowess deck. Can be pretty aggressive. And so far we missed on our first two draws here. Definitely think if we miss on the next one, we're probably going to lose. Haste means they're going to get in for a good chunk here. Could very easily die next turn. We do find a land. So we'll start here with the Steam Core. There is the fourth land, so we want to decline this, so we discard two, and we gotta have to get rid of Bringer. And then I think that Valgavoth has to be the other one here. Just don't have time to get Ardyn in, don't have any additional creatures to bring back yet. This can't be blocked by less than it, so they ended up beating us here. On the draw, we were one turn too slow. This hand is okay. We don't actually have the black mana to play out this Valgavoth yet. On the draw again. Definitely not the place you want to be in standard, although this deck looks like it might be a bit slower. And I think since we're probably going to play 3 steps next turn, we can get the Valgavoth down, maybe bait out a counterspell or something. Is this just a removal spell? It's going to be the synthesizer deck. So last gift is possible to one-shot them if we can get enough hasty creatures in play. Might need to counter something. We'll see what happens here. Yep, that one's got to be countered, unfortunately. Draw into another 3 steps. Perilous Snare, we can let go. We don't really care about the Faithful. We'll draw and discard here. Get rid of the Bringer and Ardyn. I can only get rid of one of these. I hate how that is. Just want to discard my whole hand, right? And I think we can just leave everything we mill, unless we mill a Superior Spider-Man. Opponent needs to kill us here pretty much. Couple options here. We could just do a fair reanimate. Let's see what we have. I think everything has to come back. Not enough to kill them, but our opponent just concedes here anyway. This hand plays. We will lead on the Swamp here, play out the Faithful. Opponent just has a Plains. Take this opportunity to get our Watery Grave down. Won't pay the life. And it's going to be Auras. It's a fine matchup. Here we have to determine, do we want to play out the Steam Core Scholar or Overlord of the Baelmerk? I think that we're going to Overlord. And then no attack here. If they don't take out the Valgavoth's Faithful, we can use it to reanimate next turn. I imagine we're going to see a Shelter by Ghosts, though. Nope. For once, they don't have it. They do have the armor, though. Means we're under a bit of pressure. What do we have here? Another Overlord that can help us dig. I think we'll reanimate. Also just makes all of our future discard even better. Complete whiff there. That is a bit better. We will return one Faithful to hand now that we have a second one in graveyard and some other targets as well. Maybe they were just sandbagging. They're sheltered. And another armor. Are we dead? I think if they have a third one, we definitely are. Means that combat damage is not really going to work here. We definitely need to play out the Steam Core Scholar. I think we attack in first. Still no Kavaero. Play out the Steam Core Scholar. Get rid of both Ardyns. And then we can play out the Faithful. Didn't hit a land in any of that either. We lose to another Sheltered by Ghost, but they don't have it here. Take the chump block. Attack in with the Overlord again. Surely we have to find a superior Spider-Man eventually, right? Not today. Almost through our entire deck here. Hey, finally. Same thing as last turn. Sheltered by Ghost beats us. Seam Rip is 2 or less. So it looks like we managed to survive here. They can only take 1 card here. It's not going to be enough. Take the other bringer. Only get 1 of these. Discard a Zombify and another Zombify. Play a tap land. And I was going to say we can even play out a armor here or something. This hand will play. Start on the tap land. Opponent does the same. We'll play out Island and pass. Hopefully they play around Counterspell. No play here from our opponent. We'll play out the Scholar. Don't think we want to get rid of 2 things here, so we'll just get rid of Valgavoth. Use a Helix. That's fine. I think next turn we're going to probably Zombify. See what they play out here. If they're just a burn deck, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. Without creatures in play, they can't target the Valgavoth. Day of Judgment is only a minor hiccup. We'll bring it back again. Tablet for some ramp. If their deck is full of just board wipes, we could be in trouble. Now we have Counterspell up. And I don't think that we risk it. I know we're going to miss our land drop here, but if we don't draw into another untapped land, it's just going to cost us. We can get rid of the last gift here, and that's probably good enough. Let's see what we have. Could play out an Overlord, could do a Scholar. Let's try and progress our board a bit. We've seen 2 Day of Judgment already. We'll get rid of the Valgavoth here. And might as well play out another Scholar. I know this taps us out, but we don't have Counterspell anyway. Can get rid of 1 of the 2 Zombify. Down to 15 for our opponent. Death to our enemies. Fountain Port. We have all flyers at the moment, so the chump blocker on the ground doesn't do much. And Lightning Helix is going to be life neutral for them. They're not going to be happy here. Just bring back... we have the Spider-Man, so this is probably better. Have this come in as a copy of... Don't think it really matters. Maybe another Steam Core. Go digging. Discard a Zombify. Get rid of 2 lands. And probably Winter Night now. Put some counters on our Valgavoth. Not good draws here. These are actually pretty terrible. Doesn't matter what land we get rid of. We'll get rid of one they know about. No haste. How far down in our deck are we? Exactly halfway through. So a couple games in a row now where the math just isn't mathing.
Let's dig over here.
And should be game here. Our opponent's likely to concede. There is the concession. This hand looks okay. We have Overlord to fill the graveyard. We're going to take the Scholar here too, just in case Overlord misses. Life gain deck of some sort. That's pretty bad. I think we do take one. It's a good thing we took the Steam Core Scholar. We will just play the Cavern on human. Not expecting any counter magic from them. Get rid of an Ardyn and a Valgavoth. The Essence Channeler is going to grow quite quickly. I think we're actually going to take Ardyn here. Now they have a second Channeler, so we need to dig for a board wipe or we're going to get run over. And I don't think we block yet. We expect their creatures to grow even more. We'll take the... I guess it doesn't matter. Start with the Faithful. Attack in. Oh, that's fantastic for us. Let's see, we can kill them both here. I guess Sheltered by Ghost is one of the cards we don't want to see on the Steam Core. Take a chump block. And no way to discard anything here. Take the other Steam Core. Think we can get rid of the Ardyn and another Valgavoth. Attack in. Play out the Steam Core. Brutal. These are terrible draws yet again. Where are our Superior Spider-Man? Where are our Last Gift? Neither one of them have been hit in the top third of our deck. It's the only way the deck loses pretty much is when the arena client wants you to. Probably be double strike, doesn't matter, unless they can give it trample. They could flash back for lifelink. Again, doesn't really matter. And they do. We'll block with the Steam Core that we can bring back next turn. They only get lifelink off the first hit. What does this allow them to do? Cast cards from their graveyard. We might as well bring back one of the Valgavoth here. Play out a tapped land. Do we want the Essence Channeler? Yeah, let's take it. Why not? And we can attack in with everything, gain some life. So I think we've turned the corner here finally. Overlord is going to wake up. Means we can get some more cards next turn in our graveyard. Maybe finally hit a superior Spider-Man. And they have no choice here but to attack in with the Essence Channeler. But we have enough life that we don't even need to block it anymore. And our opponent concedes. This hand looks good. We can discard the Bringer and the Valgavoth with the Winter Knight. And hopefully that also finds us our fourth land for the Superior Spider-Man. Some ramp from our opponent. Again, we were on the draw here, so we're already behind. Don't know this one. So that's just a reprint of, I forget the name of the card. We'll Winter Knight. Decline. Discard the Bringer and a Valgavoth. And then depending on how much pressure we're under next turn, which looks like quite a bit, we're going to want to do the board wipe. We'll play out the island. Copy our last gift. It's not the strongest, but we have no choice here. And that's enough for a concession from our opponent. All right, so there you have the deck. And a couple close ones here today. I do think in a lot of those matches, though, we did get pretty screwed by variance. You know, when you go through half your deck and you don't find either copy of Superior Spider-Man or Bringer of the Last Gift. Highly unlikely, statistically speaking. And the fact that it happened multiple times throughout the matches just seems off. But nonetheless, we were still able to get the win in a lot of those. We did lose to the Is It Prowess deck there on the draw, where we were one turn away from reanimating the Last Gift, wiping their board, and having a bit more game left. A couple of the other matchups, Ardyn bringing back Lifelinkers played a huge role, where we weren't able to necessarily overwhelm our opponent in one big shot, but through attrition and sustained life gain, we were able to eventually gain enough value to beat them. And then there were also a couple matchups where just putting a big dumb creature into play like Valgavoth was enough to get the victory, which is what you expect against a handful of decks in the current meta. You can also see how when we cast the Kavaero copying the Last Gift, wiping our opponent's board, often leads to a concession immediately, especially if we have any type of graveyard that's coming back with it, since taking out your opponent's creatures while also significantly progressing your own board does seem absolutely busted. I was happy with the mana base, pretty happy with the discard. Sometimes I even wish I could discard 3 or 4 cards, but obviously you can't do that. So overall, this deck gets 2 thumbs up from me. I hope you enjoyed watching the video, and as always, I'd like to ask you to please like and subscribe for more content.